Good morning, Year 9. Today we're up to the last lesson in this topic, which was to find angles of elevation and depression. You remember last lesson we used angles of elevation or depression to solve trigonometric problems. So we found missing sides when we had the angle. Today we're going to find the angle when we've got two sides for elevation and depression. So let's have a look. Okay, so learning intention, use the trigonometric ratios to calculate the angle of elevation or depression. If we quickly go back and just remember in last lesson what they were, our angle of elevation and depression were, angle of elevation was the angle of sight when we were looking up at an object. So we're this guy here and we're looking up this bird, our angle of elevation is in here and it's the angle of sight. Now the angle of depression was looking down on an object. So it was the bird, you might say, looking back at us. So this is this bird up here. He's looking down on this line of sight at us. The angle is here. Now the angle is always between the line of sight and the horizontal. So if you're here, you're looking down, the horizontal is straight ahead. So the horizontal is up here and the horizontal is down here. Now the other thing we remember was because of, if we remember our alternate triangles, we remember that this angle in here is the same as this angle in here if these two lines here are parallel, which they are, the alternate angles. So they're equal. So the angle of elevation is equal to the angle of depression, which means that if we're mucking around with drawings, we can simply transfer those angles. Okay, so let's get back and have a look here. And I've just got a couple of examples here. A tree is 20 meters tall. Here's our tree, 20 meters tall, and casts a horizontal shadow. 28.7 meters long is our shadow. Find the angle of elevation of the sun to the nearest degree. So we've obviously got the sun up here shining away, and the angle of the shadow is the angle to the sun. So we need to find the angle of elevation of the sun to the nearest degree. Angle of elevation we are putting in here. There's our angle of elevation. So all of these, as we said last lesson, all of these are going to end up being TOA. But what we can do is, there's our picture. This has probably been a textbook. So what we should do is transfer that to a diagram. So the tree is 20 meters tall. Let's do a vertical line and cast a horizontal shadow, 28.7 long. There's our 28.7. Put our theta in and then join it up with our hypotenuse. Then we're going to put our right angle in here. So then if we're going to label it, we can simply label them all. If we want, opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, and then between the angle, which is here, and the right angle is our A, and then the other one is the opposite. So let's set this up. And we know we've got O and A. We've got 20 meters next to O. We've got 28.7 next to A. So O and A is TOA. Tan theta equals O divided by A. Substitute our numbers in. Tan theta equals 20 on 28.7. If you remember, we did these previously, finding angles. We've done it previously with our calculator. Here we have tan theta equals 20 divided on 28.7. Then theta equals tan minus 1. 20 on 20 divided by 28.7. If I put that in my calculator, which I will do, just give me 1 second. Just putting that in our calculator, we've got tan minus 1. Second function, tan, gives us tan minus 1. We can see it on our calculator. Now I'm going to put this in brackets. Now I've got two different ways of putting it in. If I put this as a fraction, I'm going to go 20, and then I'm going to go over 28.7, 28.7. I'm going to close my bracket and go equals. And it's come up at 34.87 or 34.8. And if I round that to the nearest, it's 35 degrees. So that's one way of putting it in. The other way we can put it in is, instead of as a fraction, we can make that divide. Now, if we do that, we absolutely must have our brackets. So I'm going to show you that one, these divides. So we've got second function, 10, so it's 10 minus 1, put my bracket, and then I can go 20 divided by 28.7. So close my bracket, equals 34.87. If I do it this way and I don't put my bracket in, I'll get the wrong answer because it's going to work me out 10 minus 120, which doesn't exist. Oh, sorry, yes it does for 10. Come back in the answer and then divide it by 28.7. It will not be the same. Okay, so there's my answer. So what I do is I just answer it by saying the angle of elevation of the sun is 35 degrees to the nearest degree. Looking at example 2, it says from the top of a vertical cliff, here's our cliff, Andrea spots a boat out at sea. If the top of the cliff is 42 metres above sea level, 42 metres here in our thing, and the boat is 90 metres from the base of the cliff, we've got 90 metres out here, find Andrea's angle of depression to the boat to the nearest degree. So angle of depression is on the top, it's between the horizontal, it's here. Now remember that what we can do is we can redraw this. Remember that the angle of depression is the same as the angle of elevation. So if I redraw my triangle, so I've got 42 here, 90 here, and put my theta in down here, I'm going to find it as an angle of elevation, but it is the same as the angle of depression. Those angles are equal. So labeling my triangle once again, the side opposite the right angle is H. Here's my angle here now. The side between the angle and the right angle is A. The other one is O. Again, we know it's going to be TOA. O and A is TOA. Write it out. Tan theta is equal to O on A. So tan theta is equal to O 42 over 90. So theta is tan minus 1, 42 on 90. Go to our calculator and go clear that. Second function, tan minus 1. Put my bracket in, and I'm going to go 42 on 90. 42, I am going to use the ABC over 90, and then close my brackets still, equals 25.0. So 25 degrees, so my answer, I'm going to write it out as a sentence. The angle of depression is 25 degrees to the nearest degree. Okay, that is today. Today we've got this worksheet over here. I'm hoping you can work through these. There are a fair few words here. Most of them have got diagrams beneath them though. So try and associate the diagram with the sentence and see how you go.